Hi, welcome to my video on the addition of decimals. The addition of decimals. Let's add whole numbers like 461, 72, and 9. 461 has a decimal to the right of 1. 72 has a decimal to the right of 72. 9 decimal. So when we line them up, we go 461, 72, and a 9. When we add these, what we don't do is put the decimals in here. They're understood. So when we add these, as you can see, they're lined up in one's place. So that's a 12, and you carry your 1. That's a 14, and you got to carry your 1. So as I'm adding, I put the carrying the 1s on the top to indicate it. Did you notice that each whole number has a decimal to the right? So we don't put them in, but they're understood to be there. The decimal point in each number is placed underneath each other. So when we add decimals, we line up the decimals to go underneath each other. We put the 1s under the 1s, the 10s under the 10s, and so on and so on. Hence, when we're adding decimals, the decimal points have to be placed underneath each other so that the correct place values are added. Let's do some examples. 1.4 and 3.2. So the decimals are lined up underneath each other. Now when we add, we have the right place values, the tenths and the 1s and so on. So 6 and 4, easy to add. So when we add up these, we write down 11.4 first, then 7.1, so the decimals there's a 7 and a 1, and an 8 has a decimal on the end, so the 8 goes right there. We put the decimal in the 8 if we want. Notice the 8 can also have a 0 here because the 0 is not necessary to put in, but if we put the 0 in, then we have them all lined up. 4 plus 1 is 5. 8 and 8 is 16. You got the what we call carrier 1, because that's a 10s we're bringing over. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So 26.5. C, we have a 1.5. Line up the decimals. They got a 0.16 and 2 point. So it's 2.03. Again, the 1.5. You could have a 0 here if you want. You don't have to, but it's understood. 6 plus 3 is 9. 5 plus 1 is 6. Decimals bring, and 1 plus 2 is 3. So when we're adding decimals, we line up the decimal places. Don't forget. So 0.135. 1.7 is a 1.7. And decimal 2. 0.2. And again, you don't have to. The zeros are here, and the zeros are here, understood. So now we got a 5. We have a 3 when we add. That's 8, and 2 is 10. Put down the 0, you carry your 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, and we put the decimal down. Again, putting the zeros in keeps everything in order, and you don't make a mistake. Sometimes, if we want, we can add zeros as I demonstrated here. So if you want, you can make 1.200. You can make 1.2000. It depends on the number of decimal places that you have. Do you have thousands to 10,000s, etc., etc. A 4 could also be 4.0, 4.00, your choice. And 0.67, you can add a 0 on. So you can add zeros on to line up the decimals. Let's add some more additions. So if you take the 4.3 and you got a 0.261 and you have a 16, so there's your decimal. 16 is there. 0.5 follows. And again, if you want, you can put the 0 there and the 0 there and the 0 there. Not going to affect the addition. Not going to affect the place value. Just lining everything up. So that's a 1 when you add. That's 11, then 1, carrier 1. That's 4 plus 2 is 6. Bring in your decimal. 4 plus 6 is 10. Then it's 0. You got to carrier 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So line up your decimals when you're adding. Make sure. Round the sum of these 4 numbers to the nearest tenth. So the sum means add. So when we talk about sum, we mean add the numbers. So 2.13, 0.6, 4. 4, the decimal is always on the right, so there's a 4 right there, decimal. And 31.12. So decimals there, 31 and 12. Again, the more decimals you have to add, the more you should think about keeping the zeros in the order. You don't have to put zeros here. You can if you want, but they're not going to affect the answer. So if you want to put zeros in the front, but we normally don't do it, to indicate that's the tenth place. 3 plus 2 is 5. Notice now you can see them lined up. 7 and 1 is 8. 2 plus 4 is 6 and 1 is 7. And we get a 3. Practice. You add these up. Now you can use a calculator to add them up too, but that's, you should be using your head. Use your pencil. Makes your manipulation of your pencil and working things out much quicker. Well, I say quicker, but I like to use the pencil all the time. So I want to add these. So I'm going to take the 34, which is a decimal. 2.6 is right there. 5 is a decimal on the end, so it's a 5 decimal. And 0.01, so 0.01, and we're going to add these up. Again, I have a 0 here and a 0 here, but I got 2 place values here, so I can put a few zeros, but I don't have to. If you know what you're doing, you don't have to. Just make sure you keep them in order. 1, 6. I'm adding them now. So 6 and 5 is 11. You got to carry a 1, so that's a 4. Done. 7.02, and I got a 0.136 and 0.4. All done, and I can put a 0 here, a 0 here, and a 0 there. Add them up. 6, 5, 5 decimal, and we have a 7. So when you're adding, place the decimals underneath each other. 0.42 and 1.318, and a 9 got a decimal to the right, so there's the 9 right there, understood, with the decimal. And again, just to put the zeros in to line them up, I have an 8, I have a 3, I have a 7, and I have a 9 and 1 is 10. Don't forget the decimal. So you got to put a 10 in. Done. So I'm going to take these and just put them right underneath because 4 decimals. It just saves me time. 4.6 and 0.88. Done. Put a 0 there. 3 plus 8 is 11. Carrier 1. 7 and 8 is 15. Carrier 1. 11, 7 and 4 is 11, down to 1, carrier 1. 1 and 4 is 5, and a 1. Don't forget to bring down your decimal. We have them added. And you want to add these up. Add, so we got a 0.7, we got a 0.612, and we got a 0 point, or decimal, point, I call it point, don't mind me. So the 0 is 2 zeros on the 7, 1 0 after 9 lines them up, so that's a 2, 10, 0, carrier 1, that's 8, 14, 17, carrier 1, and bring down, so there's your decimal. round the sum up. What does sum mean? Sum means add. So I have to add all these up. So 0.84, 0.316, 0.572. Keep them all under tenths, hundreds under hundreds, thousands under thousands. Put a 0 in. Add 8. 5 plus 7 is 12. Then a 2, you carry a 1. That's a 9, 12, 17. Carry a 1. Now it says I have the sum round to the nearest hundred. The nearest hundred, so 2 is in the hundreds place. So because there's a 5 or more, I have to add 1 to the 2. So that makes it 3, a 7, and a 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Don't change those. Put the decimal in. And there's a 0 on the right. But that answer is just 1.73. I hope you enjoyed my video on the rounding and the order. If you did, click on the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. Write a comment on my videos if you wish, and visit my website, mathfullyexplained.com. You get information about my degrees and teaching experience, the teaching strategies you're going to use to help you learn. The content of my video will have, in the section on the content, you'll have the topics, the number of videos on each topic. The topics completed will be in black font, and the topics that I'm going to do in the future will be in red font. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.